Hey everyone, I'm Brandy Williams and welcome to legendary Binion's Gambling Hall and Hotel for another exciting edition of Cash Poker. With this much money on the line, anything could happen, and it probably will. Let's get to it.
Meet tonight's players. In seat number 9 from Santa Monica, California, Action Dan Harrington. In seat number 8, Todd Brunson from right here in Las Vegas. Another Las Vegas pro, David Williams, is in seat number 7. In seat number 6, Brooklyn Dan from Los Angeles, California. In seat number 5 from Glenwood, Alabama, Hoyt Corkins. In seat number 4 from Las Vegas, Vanessa Russo. Bob Bright from Las Vegas is in seat number 3. In seat number 2 from Los Angeles, California, Cash Poker's own Chad Brown. And in seat number 1 from New Orleans, Louisiana, Brandon Adams. Hello and welcome back one and all to another exciting episode of Cash Poker. My name is Brian Malika, and joining me in the booth for tonight's event, just back after a great showing in the Aussie Poker Millions, Christy Gazes.
Hello, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be working with you tonight.
You too. Nice to see this rowdy bunch here and a lady at the table. Very nice group here.
Should be a lot of fun. Bob getting it started in style with a bump up to 600 with pocket tens. Dan's picked up a monster. He's got pocket aces in the big blind.
I raise it.
And he comes out firing. 3,100 is the raise from Dan Harrington.
2,500?
He says, hello, baby doll. Welcome to the game. You want to play? You got to pay. Definitely going to get a caller here from Bob with the 2 tens.
I would like to see a flop.
Says he wants to see a flop. He'll contribute. David doesn't have much of a hand here. 4-5 offsuit. This would be a good time to get out of the way.
He's probably thinking my cards are live and I have position. What the heck? David likes to see a lot of flops, and he can play flops very well.
3 players heading into the flop.
Easy call.
Nobody counts that. They just accept it.
And the gamble pays off as David, with the lowly 4-5 offsuit, has just flopped trip 5s.
Yeah, Dan's got to feel pretty comfy here with his aces. You can't really put anyone anywhere near 4-5, but we do have some action players, so.
6,500 is the bet from Dan.
How much is that?
And poor Bob, this is a great flop for pocket tens as well, but
65.
I don't know that he can call Dan's bet.
65.
I don't think he can call here. He is definitely thinking about it, but then again, he knows Action Dan is a medium player. He can play very aggressive, but he's tight aggressive, and that's the best style to be, in my opinion. I love Dan Harrington's game and his style. It seems to get the money in the long run.
Okay.
That's enough to get Bob out of the way. And just a call from David. Slow playing his trips.
How much more are you playing?
I don't like that question.
No.
That's 10, 14, 15.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They're counting you down all the time. Can't get a break.
Oh, there's Bob's 10. Unfortunately, he folded.
Dan has a good chance of going broke here. It's very tough. He's in a very tough spot.
I'm all in.
I'll call.
And there it is. He announces all in. That'll be another 15,000. Of course, David is going to be more than happy to oblige.
How sweet it is. This is a very dangerous playing style, as you kiddos at home can see, but David pulls it off with style. Makes it look easy.
Wow, that is tough for Dan Harrington. He's got to be thinking to himself, you know, after such a big re-raise, how could David stick around? But
you gotta love it. That's all Dan's thinking. He doesn't love it right now, but I'm sure he loves the action. And that's what makes a great poker game.
now that doesn't seem to be a look of love. I think you're onto something. Well, we have not seen the last of Action Dan Harrington as he has cracked the piggy bank and bought back in.
I think his rebuy money is probably coming from his petty cash drawer. He happens to own one of the biggest real estate funds in Los Angeles, California, Anchor Loans.
Action right now. All right.
As Todd Brunson got the action started with King Jack suited, he bumped it up to 450. Got a call from Chad, who picked up pocket sixes. Vanessa calls from the button with 7-8 offsuit. Brooklyn Dan, ace king, he's in the big blind.
It's the first time I've seen them both in a 5.
No, she called
The other one, you saw how the ball that
You all
one
had
worked
nice
out.
hands.
I'm sure he would be happy if everybody folded.
Got what you asked for.
You guys both coming if I come?
He has bumped it up to 2150 total. And I don't think Todd's going anywhere. He's playing with his chips.
Such a great all-around player, pre-flop, post-flop. He can speculate with these hands, no problem. But, you know, it really depends on what he thinks of Dan, how Dan's playing today, too.
Well, he decides to make the call.
And that'll probably bring in Chad. Raise him in, as they say.
He does have those pocket sixes.
I don't mind that call at all. I almost would call if I was her, too, just because there's so much money in there. If you hit your flop, you're probably good.
Danny did manage to chase 3 players out with his raise. Maybe Vanessa should have called if she would have hit top pair. As of now, Chad's pocket sixes are still the best hand.
See what Dan does here. I like this bet.
He is betting out 4,500,
And I
a
went
little
to
more
the-
than half the pot.
Put some bad hand down there.
Nice lay down by Todd.
That's funny. I forgot to. Just
Chad is one of those players. He's so tough. He's like a deer tick. I call him deer ticks. You just can't get him off of you no matter what you do. It's like, get out of my pot. You're just saying it the whole time.
I'm sure Chad will appreciate being referred to as a deer tick.
I remember I kind of felt bad. I was like, man, that
He is going to stick around, though, so I think you have a point.
No, I always feel bad.
2 of clubs, another low card. Chad has to feel confident with all these low cards out there.
You got to get bust like everybody.
A quick
but
check
Dan, you
probably
were
is,
just, you know,
will make a player like Chad. He's going to follow through most of the time. He's very aggressive. He's very tough to play with. He's going to probably fire pretty big here, which is Chad Brown's style, which is an excellent style.
And he sure did. 6,500 is the bet from Chad, perhaps sensing some weakness from Danny, who slammed on the brakes there after betting the whole way through. And look at that. Danny lays down the ace-king. A nice fold from Danny. He did what he could. He betted aggressively, raised pre-flop, but I think he knew it was behind, and he made the right laydown.
I'm Dan Harrington, and stay tuned for Cash Poker. It's going to be an exciting evening.
Action Dan will be first to act.
I wonder how many of those Boston Red Sox, are those Boston Red Sox the green hat that he has? He wears the same hat all the time.
thought it was coming from
Maybe he's got a whole collection of them, although he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Also doesn't seem like the kind of guy that plays 5-3 offsuit as he mucks it. And look at this, Chad Brown picked up pocket aces. 500 is the raise from Chad, just a standard raise. Bob called with King Jack. Hoyt called with ace-9 suited.
Wow.
David's in the small blind.
Wow.
Seems very excited about his 6-7 of diamonds.
Now the aces, when you're playing a cash game, seem to shrink up a little bit at this point when everyone calls your raise.
I'm sure Chad hoping that he doesn't suffer the same fate Action Dan did when he picked up his aces.
Could be what's happening to me.
Well, maybe David had a right to be excited with his 6-7 suited as he flopped top pair. Of course, he is way behind Chad's aces. 3 spades on the flop also. That has to scare Chad a little bit. None of our players have a spade, but Chad doesn't know that.
Bob's going to speculate.
He leads with King Jack. 700 is the bet from Bob.
sorry. The 100 rolled in there too.
And just a call from Chad. Christy, I'm a little bit surprised. I would think maybe a raise here, try and chase anyone who may be going after a flush.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he saw something with David, or maybe he's actually trying to slow play David, thinking that he has a pair and a draw. Sort of odd play by him.
Action checks around on the turn. 8 of hearts on the river. It's Chad's pot to lose at this point. He has the best hand.
It looks like he's betting for value at this point.
Yeah, only 1,700 is the bet from Chad. That's going to be enough to get Bob out of the way. An immediate call from David. As you mentioned, Christy, a real value bet from Chad. Wasn't worth it to David to fold. Had to at least look him up. And there it is. The aces hold up.
Chad basically gave David a free ride to the river to make his hand. Sort of different style play from Chad.
A little bit dangerous, but he drags the pot.
Co-hosted.
We have a few new faces as Jeff Lipton, Tony Korfman, and Adam Richardson all have joined the table. Jeff Lipton, in fact, is Dan Harrington's business partner. Harrington taught Jeff how to play, so we'll see if maybe that gives Jeff a little bit of an advantage at the table.
I think that Dan has taught basically everyone how to play, so he wrote the book, as you know.
He certainly did. And is this in the book? David limps in from early position with pocket queens.
This is in the super aggressive manual. Chad has obviously read it because he's in too. So
Chad makes the call with ace-jack.
You know, David is a very creative player, very dangerous, as you can see, limping in with queens here.
Bob has a hand as well. He's on the button, and he bumps it up to 1150. However, we've seen Bob raise with maybe not so premium hands as well. It's hard to put him on a hand. David makes the call. And Chad's going to get away from his ace-jack, so we are heads up going into the flop. Oh no, what a flop for both players, really. David has to love that flop with pocket queens, but Bob hit his set of tens. Bob bet out 800 and David electing to just call.
He's probably going to pop it pretty big on the turn to see where he's at because he likes to gamble.
Once again, David checks it to Bob. $2,200 is the bet. And now it's to David.
Here comes a big raise, I suspect.
As you predicted, 7,200.
Don't try this at home, kids. This is very dangerous. David Williams style play. He looks good doing it. He can get killed a lot of times doing it, but in the end, he does prevail. Let's see what happens this hand.
And how good do you have to feel if you're Bob? You flop a set and you have a player raising into you. It's like a dream come true.
You just want to just get up and start shouting.
He just calls.
Yeah, I like that call too, just playing really slow against David.
Well, that 8 on the river now gives Bob a full house. David first to act. He's been checking from first position the entire way. And now he fires out 10,000. He's got some chips in there. He's got some cash in there. He's in a load of trouble.
He's in this pot. He's going to call pretty much a lot of raises here. There's so much money in the pot. And Bob's really working it here. Do not trust this man.
Raise.
So a little bit more than a minimum raise makes it 25,000 total.
That's a sweet bet. He's got to call. Too much in there.
He called.
David does in fact call. And wow, bad news.
That's the thing about playing, big pairs really slow in a cash game and being a really aggressive player. It can come to bite you sometimes.
And what a pot for Bob Bright. Almost $70,000 being pushed his way.
More No Limit Texas Hold'em action just ahead.
plays in a lot of cash games. What's the strategy like? I mean, do you want to get involved in as many pots as possible, see if you hit a flop, or is it to your advantage to wait for that monster hand?
I think a little bit of both, but I think the way tournaments differ from cash is in cash game, it's more of a grind. You're grinding out. You want to win X amount per hour, have your hourly win rate, and, you know, keep records of that, and just sort of, it's like a job. When a tournament's more like fantasy poker.
Fantasy, but never my fantasy. Never works out the right way. Bob, who always loves to play, I'm not sure if he agrees with your grinder mentality. He bumps the pot up with ace-5 of spades. That'll get a call from Jeff with jack-10 suited.
Todd is such a dangerous, intimidating player because he always looks like he wants to murder you. He's got the stone face.
And Todd gets a piece of this flop bottom pair, but it's Jeff with his jacks that are best. Also keep an eye on Bob. 2 spades on the flop. He's on the draw here, and he will bet out 1,500.
I like this bet a lot. I like to bet draws, and I also like to bet big hands here, especially Bob if he's opening a lot of pots.
Jeff electing just to call with his top pair. Todd with just those 3s. Looks like he really wants to play them.
He's been sitting out a lot. He's a pretty active player. He's probably wondering when he's going to get some aces or something.
He's going to lay it down. Heads up going into the turn.
Now, what are you going to do with the spades? Check it? Be nice to see a decent-sized bet by Jeff here. Just because of the way Bob is so active, you kind of want to take it down right here.
There is also a straight draw out there in addition to a flush draw that Jeff has to keep in mind. Bets out 4,000. That's under a pot size bet. Maybe a little more would have been the safer way to go?
Probably a little bit more, but, you know, calling with a flush with 1 to go, wrong again. Bob is, where's Bob? Let's get him over to my home game.
Apparently when you pull down 70,000, you'll call 4,000 with only 1 card to come.
He's running good, it looks like. Yep, he is.
And he's only running better. That 7 of spades gives Bob the nut flush.
It's your birthday. I think maybe it was his birthday today, Bob. I think maybe Bob will quit trading soon.
Why not? He's pushing in 10,000, and Jeff has to feel horrible right now. All around, just a horrible card on the river for Jeff.
It's pretty brutal, but then again, you know, in No Limit cash and in tournament, you want to kind of have a feeling for where you're at.
Well, Jeff got a feeling, and it was the correct feeling. He knew it was behind, and he laid it down.
Money comes to money, as they say.
Christy, everything seems to be going Bob's way, but he seems to be playing very loose to me. I mean, on that last hand, he called a pretty sizable bet with nothing but a flush draw and an ace high.
It's probably not good to call off all your money with a flush draw and 1 overcard with 1 to come, but Bob is doing, as they say, playing his rush. He's gambling, and, you know, he's in there to play a lot of seal-of hands, so that's how he's playing power poker.
Well, so far it is working in his favor. We'll see if that continues as David picks up 6-7 offsuit on the button. He's going to join the party. Pocket 10s for Todd here in the small blind. He bumps it up to 700.
That's a nice bet, and he took off his hat. I don't know if I like that superstitious-wise. He took it off in the middle of the hand. That might go against him, this hand. I'm just saying for all you luck fiends out there like myself.
All right, there. Let's see if we can divvy him up.
Dan called from the big blind with king-queen offsuit. David is sticking around. And what a flop. Look at this. Todd flops a set of 10s. Dan top pair with an open-ended straight draw. And David's got nothing.
This is very dangerous again for Dan. May make a big bet here. He might just call just to take 1 off.
Todd opened for 1,000, and Dan made the call. David out of the way here. And there's the ace that completes Dan's straight.
It's pretty sweet for Dan. Finally hitting a hand here. See what he does with it.
Todd has checked it to him, maybe trying to get a sense of where Dan is. Dan only with about 16,000 left in his chip stack.
But he also has a new addition to the table, the red and white lady, it looks like, and Todd's hat's off, so this could be dangerous.
It's the battle of the superstitions. We'll see whose pans out here. Always methodical is Action Dan, as he will bet out 5,000.
Todd will probably put the heat on here because he can.
He certainly does. He grabs some chips, tosses them in. That will certainly be enough to put Dan all in.
I sit on the queen.
Well, nice hit. I guess I'm drawing dead if it was a nice hit.
No. Oh. I thought you tied with him. That's why.
Maybe you slow rolled me again, Dan. That's all right.
Pleasantly surprised. This is Dan Harrington. And no help on the river. And Todd infuriated.
You didn't lose the head.
It's good to see Todd with any emotion at all. Now we know he's not quite flesh over metal.
Chop it up.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so how much should I pay him?
Todd very graciously offering to chop with the losing hand.
Give Marie back her wig, Dan. It's Lucky's Dan.
Yeah, this. I should have had this head a little while ago.
Dan's holding on tight to his lady here too. I don't know. You might not want to let go now. He's gripping on her.
Figured I'd be the one guy you'd beat all night.
And Dan Harrington is back as he pulls down over $30,000 in that pot.
Closed captioning provided by.
Christy, I mentioned at the top of the show that you had a great showing with the Aussie Millions tournament. How'd it go down there?
I did very well. I made 2 final tables, came in 7th in the main event and 7th in the pot limit Omaha. So I made a suite over a couple $100,000, so pretty nice.
that actually matches the best I've ever done, but just the dimes part, not the actual slang. I'm talking about when I'm playing for change in my home.
You're literally playing for dimes.
Yeah, we're really playing for dimes. David has limped in with 6-7 offsuit. Todd 10 jack offsuit. He is in the pot as well.
In a couple of hours, I said. Todd may not have played a hand for a while, and he has.
And look at Brandon. He's on the button with a weak hand. He's going to bump it up to 800.
Speculating.
Again, he really wants to get involved here. What he doesn't know is Todd and David, they probably will see it because they like to see flops with these kind of hands. So he's got to follow through. Very dangerous spot here, although he does have position, but Todd has the lady in the hat.
Oddly enough, David with his 7s has the best hand with an ace and a king out there. Probably a little bit scary. Todd has flopped a gut shot straight draw. $1,400 is the bet.
How much is that?
1,400.
David folds the best hand, and Todd will make the call. No help on the turn for either player. Todd's jack high at this point is still the best hand, and he's on a draw.
May want to bet a little bit more here, but he's definitely representing a huge hand. Todd looks like he smells something.
Well, apparently the lady's giving him some great advice as Todd makes the call with nothing but a gut shot straight draw. He doesn't get his queen, but it doesn't matter. His jack high is still the best hand here. Brandon misses his flush.
Todd just smells something. That's the instincts of a great player here. He does not believe him, clearly. He's going to test it out at the river, it looks like. And this is world-class play here by Todd Brunson. Again, the Brunson instincts obviously run in the family. He's very tough, one of the best no-limit hold'em players in the world today.
Give me my doll back.
No.
Yeah.
Vanessa, Danny, and Hoyt have all rejoined the table after a little break. And Vanessa's going to get things started under the gun, bumps it up to 500 with ace-queen.
Vanessa Russo, one of the hottest players on the tour right now. Very, very tough player. Very smart young lady. Game theory expert.
500?
I thought David.
I'm not sure Bob's a game theory expert, but he likes to play, and he just calls that raise with pocket 5s.
Bob's an expert, all right. He's an action expert today.
Was there a paired board on the flop?
Ace 10 suited for Jeff on the button. He calls. Tony, Queen Jack suited. He calls.
We need to go get in this game, Brian.
Well, I cannot, come to this party.
Adam gets involved from the big blind with King Queen. And there's the ace. Jeff and Vanessa have paired their ace. Vanessa's holding that queen kicker.
She likes it. She likes the lady's going to bet a little something, something. See where she's at.
1,100 is the bet. That'll be enough to get Bob out of the way. Jeff's got to be careful here. He calls.
This is dangerous for Jeff. He's got kicker problems, as they say.
That was fun.
No. You got your head shut.
Whoa, easy there.
Oh boy, what's
Vanessa
so fun?
almost mucked her hand
More
right
fun
there.
now.
Yeah, she's playing too fast. I understand. I can relate to that. She already had it won.
Oh, well, now might be a good time. She's probably going to wish she kicked those cards in, as Jeff has just made 2 pair aces up.
22.
This is an ugly card, obviously, for Vanessa. It's probably going to be tough for her to get away from this hand at this point. It really depends on how much Jeff, if he's just going to call her or jack it up. He probably will just call here just to get full value out of his hand at this point.
Jeff, in fact, does make the call. Vanessa, no help on the river.
Check.
She's sort of probably going to make a crying call here, depending again on how much Jeff works the pot for.
5,000.
And a nice bet here. Half the pot. 5,000 is the bet from Jeff.
Yeah, nice hand. Good bet. I don't know how you.
Yes.
You nice to bet that, but.
And she seems a little bit frustrated. I don't think it was a bad play by Jeff. Maybe she's just venting.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Lipton. My occupation is I'm a real estate investor, and the interesting fact about that is that I'm Dan Harrington's real estate partner, and he's the one that's actually taught me how to play No Limit Hold'em. So this would be the first time I've been on live TV playing in a cash game, so I'm really excited about that. I plan to play all night, and I plan to come home with the chips. My son, Jerry, who's a big poker fan, is super excited about this event, and so he wants to see me on TV, so I'm going to give him as much airtime as he can get. Jerry, I'm going to try to cash in and come home with at least double what I bought in, which is $25,000, and I know you're a money guy, Jerry, so I'm going to try to bring home the bacon for you.
We're not through with you yet. We have more cash poker just ahead.
Welcome to Cash Poker. My name is Brian Malika alongside Christy Gazes. Vanessa and Danny will be our blinds, and Vanessa a little bit short stack now, under 10,000, looking to mount a comeback after a couple of bad beats, especially that last hand.
Yeah, sometimes it's best to get up. A lot of times, if you're running bad or just not rebuy, just see if you can make a run with the remainder of the cash you have left and live to fight another day. Here goes a little luck box, Bob, with a couple of aces.
He's got the chips, he's got the cards. It's not even fair.
Life isn't fair.
That's a great point, especially in poker. King Jack for Tony. He will call Bob's raise. Adam on the button. He makes the call with 10 Jack. Vanessa in the small blind. 6-9 off suit.
The caller's brought her in. She'd like to take a flop with that.
Four-handed going into the flop. And Vanessa has flopped top pair. Unfortunately, she's still well behind Bob's aces.
This could be a really bad spot for Vanessa. With her shorter stack, Bob having such a big hand and so much money.
Vanessa does check it to Bob.
Bob's just doing a little dance in his head, just seeing how much he can extract here.
Bets out 1,400, looking for a call, I would imagine, with that board. Tony
can't really see his cards. He's kind of blinded by the orange. Let's see what Vanessa's going to do.
Tony and Adam both get out of the way. Vanessa with top pair. She checked it.
I raise.
Rough decision for Vanessa here. She decides to come over the top. And it's going to be for 3,900.
This looks like a no-win situation for Vanessa. Bob's probably put her in, and she's kind of pot stuck, it looks like. Although you probably could dump the 9 with a 6 kicker.
4,000.
I'm on.
They're all in? You got flush draw? I can't fold. I call.
There it is. Vanessa announced she only had about 4,000 left. Bob put her all in. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Vanessa. Not good.
Really bad. Pair the 9.
She's begging for a 9.
I got a little baby inside baby draw. I didn't put you on that.
Oh, it is not a 9, but it's a 6, and Vanessa just went from being a 20% underdog to an 80% favorite.
Not over yet. Probably not best to celebrate till the hand's over, but she's looking pretty sharp right now.
Bob is looking for an ace or for the board to pair. Of course, it can't pair with a 9 or a 6.
He's laughing. I deserve to lose. I'm such a brat right now.
She's saying she deserves to lose. I don't know. The universe might answer you.
Give one to the little dog.
Give her eyes on the last card, Bob.
Bob's running good, too.
King!
And look at that, everything going Bob's way. That 4 on the river pairs the board. Bob now with a better 2 pair. And Vanessa, who said she deserves to lose, I bet she's wishing she never said those words.
It hasn't been our day. A lot of times when this happens, when you're playing, it's time to just get up and, you know, the casino is open 24 hours for all you out there. So come back when you're running a little smoother.
I'm gonna act like a brat. There's something karmic about it.
When I played last time, 3 weeks ago, you either win money or you gain experience. I gained a lot of experience. I didn't win any money. I never figured losing hurts because you gain experience. This time, I gained a little experience, but I gained a lot of money too. So it was a lot of fun, and I'll be back in another 3 weeks.
With Vanessa Russo calling it a night, Brooklyn Dan has rejoined the table. Bob under the gun with pocket 4s.
He's in.
You know he's in.
Hoping to flop quads this hand.
Looks like ace 10 maybe for Jeff. Couldn't quite make it out, but I'm sure we'll see it if it becomes important.
Adam's out. Haven't seen him play much today. Pretty card dead.
Jack 9 for Hoyt. He will limp in. And Danny on the button picks up pocket 9s. He's in position. He's already announced a raise. And he'll make it 800 total to go.
I like his play there. Bob may fold this time. He's thinking because it's Dan. Against certain players, Bob would auto call, but maybe against Dan because he hasn't been that active or just sat down again. Maybe he's respecting him as a player a bit more than some of the others at the table. Looks that way, because for Bob to fold a pair, I don't know.
There you go. Hoyt decides he is going to stick around with his Jack 9, and we will see a flop. A little bit of help for Hoyt here as he picked up an open-ended straight draw, but Danny's 9s are still best.
I'd like to see a pot size bet here by Dan just to sort of say, hey, I got it. I got the position. I got the hand, Hoyt.
Not quite a pot size bet. 1,600 from Danny.
It's not a bad bet. If Hoyt has any of it, he's going to draw. He likes to be in there with these kind of draws, so he's going to speculate.
Yeah, he's sticking around. No help for Hoyt on the turn.
Checks again. Dan probably doesn't like his 9s, 2 over cards. He may check here, although with position on Hoyt, you may want to take another shot at it, but
He does check, giving Hoyt a shot to get there on the river, which he does not. However, Hoyt doesn't seem to know that. He's reaching for chips.
Hoyt is very crafty. If he smells any kind of weakness or feels that way, he's a definite field player. I play with him quite often. He will take a shot at it with nothing. He has great, great poker instincts.
Danny has the best hand. Still, though, not an easy call with 2 overcards out there.
Very tough spot here for Dan. With a check on the turn, he basically kind of said, here, go ahead and take it, Hoyt. But again, it's easy for me to say here in the booth. It's very tough to do when there's real money at stake and you're playing against the cowboy.
And he lays it down. What a great play by Hoyt, getting Danny to fold the winner. There's Chad, been a little bit quiet lately. Maybe it's because he's been getting 6 deuce every hand.
I think it's because he's got the hat in front of him. Todd left the game. He gave Chad the hat. Now Chad's sort of stuck to the chair, not being able to play any cards with the hat in front of him.
Jeff limps in with 7-5 suited in diamonds. Ace Jack for Adam.
Oh, we need racks. Oh, okay.
He will limp in as well. Hoyt on the button. King 8 suited.
You notice players like Hoyt that almost always play their position. Any 2 cards are very aware of position in this game.
Brandon, King 9 offsuit. He's in the big blind. He's been a little bit quiet after a few plays early, and now he's ready to fire again. Raises it up to 1,000.
Adam chooses to call here. Again, Adam with his tight image could have probably got Brandon off this hand if he wanted to gamble and just really raise twos with the ace-jack, but he takes a safe route, wants to see a flop.
Hoyt and Danny both fold. Will be heads up going into this flop, and both players get a piece of it. Brandon is 9s, Adam aces.
Brandon's going to follow through here. Gamble up, as they say.
My real estate partner right there. Yeah, my real estate company.
He has to play very careful if he's watching the game against Adam, because Adam quite obviously has flopped something. If you're Brandon, you hate your hand here, but he might go with it. But he's going to check. To me, it looks like Adam flopped a monster. Just his calm demeanor just looks like he has a really big hand.
Well, he's betting out 2,200.
Brandon's thinking he might be thinking of making one of his plays here.
And he does. Comes over the top with a $7,000 raise. Poor Brandon has just picked horrible times to make moves today.
Yeah, timing is everything in poker as in life, and
We just picked a great business.
although I have to say it is a tough decision for Adam because he does only have the jack.
Well, it got a whole lot worse as Adam now has 2 pair.
We have about 30?
Vegas area, so it's perfect.
Couldn't get worse. No. 27, 28.
I'll check.
Brandon has checked it to him.
Let's see if Adam makes a value bet or just goes for the whole enchilada here. 20 dimes, it looks like.
Looks like 20,000. He wants Brandon's chips. There'll be no value betting here.
Got to give Brandon credit for really gunning for this pot. Again, he just picked the wrong time against definitely the wrong guy.
The UPC Hold'em Highlight is brought to you by All In Magazine, the world's leading poker magazine.
Christy, my Cash Poker Hold'em highlight hand of the day was heads-up action between Bob and David. David gets into a little bit of trouble as he decides to slow play pocket queens pre-flop with just a call of Bob's raise with pocket tens. The flop was a monster for Bob as he decides to bet out his trip tens, just $800. David makes the call. No help on the turn for David. Bob pulls the trigger with $2,200, and this is where David decides to make his move. Unfortunately, it was a little too late. $7,200 was the raise from David. An easy call for Bob, and it only gets worse on the river. David comes in with a $10,000 bet, a nice minimum raise to $25,000 from Bob. David calls and sees the bad news. And with that hand, Bob pulls down a $70,000 pot, the biggest pot of tonight's episode of Cash Poker.
Another night of poker comes to a close, but thanks for watching us here at Cash Poker. I'm Brandy Williams. I'll see you next time. Good night.